Hello and welcome to English BioTalk. I'm Anna. I want you to think about something. Have you ever felt that spark of excitement? You learn a new, amazing English word. Maybe it's a word like ephemeral or sonder or petrichor. You think, wow, this is a great word. I am going to use this. I'm going to sound so smart. You repeat it to yourself a few times. You feel good, you feel confident. Then, a week goes by. You're in a conversation and you have the perfect opportunity to use that word. Your mind races, searching for it, and there's nothing. Just a blank space where that beautiful word used to be. It's gone, vanished. Does that sound familiar? You're not alone. In fact, this is the most common frustration for English learners all over the world. You spend hours learning, only to feel like your brain is a leaky bucket with new words dripping out as fast as you put them in. What if I told you that it's not your fault? What if I told you that the way most of us are taught to learn vocabulary is actually working against our brain's natural learning system? The idea of just repeating a word over and over until it sticks is a myth. It's like trying to build a house with sand. It's a lot of work and eventually it all falls apart. But today, that ends. In this video, I'm not going to give you a long, boring list of 100 tips. I'm going to give you something much more powerful. I'm going to give you a complete 5-step system. A smart system based on real science about how our minds work that will transform you from a word forgetter into a word owner. These aren't just tricks. They are permanent changes to the way you learn. By the end of this video, you will have a clear blueprint to make new words stick in your memory. Not for a day, not for a week, but for life. So if you're ready to stop forgetting and start remembering, to build a vocabulary that is rich, strong, and confident, then you are in the right place. Let's get started. Point 1. The great lie of repetition. The first step in our journey is to understand what we have been doing wrong. We need to confront the biggest myth in language learning, the idea that simple repetition is the key to memorization. This is what I call the great lie of repetition. We've all done it. We get a list of vocabulary words for a test. Word on the left, definition on the right. What do? We read it. Accomplish. Verb. To achieve something successfully. Accomplish. 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 We say it 10, 20, maybe 50 times. We feel like we are working hard. We feel like this effort must lead to learning. But this is a form of what neuroscientists call shallow processing. Imagine your brain is like a patch of grass. When you use shallow processing, it's like walking over that grass one time. You might leave a very faint trail, but in a few minutes, the grass will spring back up and there will be no sign you were ever there. Your brain sees the word, acknowledges it, but doesn't do anything meaningful with it. It doesn't connect it to anything. It doesn't give it any importance. So your brain, being very efficient, decides this information isn't worth keeping. It's like a temporary file on a computer that gets deleted automatically. Think about this. How many thousands of logos do you see every single day? On your phone, on your clothes, on the street? You see them constantly. But if I asked you right now to draw the Apple logo or the Google logo perfectly from memory, could you do it? Probably not. You might get close, but the exact details would be fuzzy. That's because even though you've seen it thousands of times, that's a lot of repetition, you've only processed it shallowly. You've never had a reason to deeply engage with it. This isn't just a feeling, it's a scientific fact. In the 19th century, a psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered something he called the forgetting curve. It's a graph that shows how our memory of new information declines over time. And it's shocking. Ebbinghaus found that if you don't do anything to reinforce a new memory, you can forget as much as 50 to 80% of it within just 24 hours. Within a week, almost all of it is gone. That feeling you have of words just disappearing, it's real. It's your brain following its natural programming. So, when you just repeat a word, you are fighting against the forgetting curve with a very weak weapon. It might keep the word in your head for an hour, maybe a day if you're lucky, but it won't create a strong, long-term memory. To do that, we need to go deeper. We need to signal to our brain that this word is important, that it's worth keeping. The rest of our system is designed to do exactly that. The first step is admitting that the old way, the hard way, the boring way, simply doesn't work. It's time to learn smart, not just hard. Point 2. The power of context. Okay, so if learning from a random list of words is a bad idea, what's the alternative? The answer is simple but incredibly powerful. Never learn a word in isolation. Always learn words in context. What does this mean? It means a word should never be a lonely island. A word needs a family, a neighborhood, a story to live in. When you learn a word from a list, it has no connections. It's just a random fact. Our brains are terrible at remembering random facts, but our brains are amazing at remembering stories, emotions, and connections. This is the secret. We need to give our new words a home. So from now on, I want you to banish those random vocabulary lists from your life. Instead, your new vocabulary will come from things you are already interested in. Are you passionate about cooking? Great. Find an article or a blog post about a new recipe. Do you love learning about space exploration? Perfect. Watch a short documentary on YouTube about NASA. Are you into fashion? Wonderful. Read a short interview with your favorite designer. Here's the method. Choose one piece of content, an article, a video, a podcast episode. As you read or listen, find 5 to 10 new words. No more than that. Let's take an example. Suppose you decide to read a short article about a journey to the Amazon rainforest. In that one article, you might find these 5 words: lush, remote, biodiversity, navigate, and indigenous. Look at these words. They aren't random. They're already connected. They're part of the same story. Lush describes the rainforest. The rainforest is in a remote location. It's famous for its incredible biodiversity. The explorer had to navigate the river, and they met the indigenous people who live there. Do you see what's happening? Your brain isn't learning 5 separate facts. It's learning one interconnected picture, a story. You can visualize it. You can see the green, lush jungle. You can feel how remote it is. You can imagine all the different animals and plants, the biodiversity. This is 1,000 times more powerful than learning these 5 words from a list scattered between words like economics, pencil, and happy. When you learn in context, you get so much more than a definition. You see how the word is actually used. You see the kinds of words that are its friends and neighbors, its collocations. You get a feel, an intuition for the word. For example, you learn that the word lush is often used to describe gardens, forests, and green landscapes. You learn that you navigate a river or a difficult situation. This is deep learning, not shallow repetition. So your action for this step is to find your source. What do you love? Find an English article, video, or podcast about it right now. As you go through it, don't just hunt for words. Enjoy the content. When you find a word you don't know, write it down. Then, at the end, look at your small list of 5 to 10 words. They are already a family. They already have a story. You've already done the most important work of connecting them. You're no longer collecting random pebbles. You're building a beautiful mosaic, one piece of a story at a time. Point 3. Make the word yours. You found your words in context. They are part of a story. Now we need to take the next, most crucial step. We need to take that word out of the story you read and put it into the story of your own life. This is the process of deep processing, of making the word truly yours. It's not enough to know what a word means. You have to feel it. This step is about creating a deep, personal, and multisensory connection to the word. We're going to do this in 4 parts. Part A. Visualize it first for every new word. I want you to create a movie in your head. Don't just think about the definition. See it, hear it, feel it. Let's take the word serene. The definition is calm, peaceful, and untroubled. That's okay, but it's just information. It's cold. Let's make it warm. Close your eyes. What does serene look like to you? Don't use someone else's idea, use your own. Maybe you see a quiet lake at sunrise, with a little bit of mist rising from the water. Maybe you see yourself sitting in a comfortable chair with a warm cup of tea and a good book. Maybe it's a silent, snowy forest. See the colors. Hear the sounds, or the lack of sound. What does it feel like on your skin? Is the air cool and crisp? Is it warm and gentle? The more details you can add to your mental movie, the more connections your brain will make. You are attaching the word serene, not just to a definition, but to a vivid sensory experience. This creates a much stronger memory trace. For every word, spend at least 30 seconds just visualizing. If the word is cacophony, a harsh, discordant mixture of sounds, don't just learn the definition. Imagine the sound of 100 people all talking at once in a small room, or the sound of city traffic with horns honking and sirens wailing. Make the image so strong that you almost cringe. By linking the word to a strong visual and sensory experience, you are locking it into your memory in a powerful new way. Part B. Personalize it. The next part is to connect the word directly to your own life, your memories, your opinions, and your feelings. This is perhaps the most powerful memory technique of all, because our brains are programmed to remember things that are relevant to us. Information about ourselves is sticky. Ask yourself a question about the new word that connects to your life. Using our word serene, you could ask, "Where is a place that makes me feel serene?" Now, answer it with a full sentence. "My little balcony with my plants is my serene place in the city." Or, "Walking my dog in the park early in the morning is a serene experience for me." Let's try another word from our Amazon list. Navigate. Ask yourself, when was a time I had to navigate a difficult situation in my life? Think for a moment. Then, create your personal sentence. Last year, I had to navigate a disagreement between two of my best friends. Do you see what you're doing? You are weaving this new word into the fabric of your own identity and your own memories. The word is no longer a foreign object. It's part of your story. When you do this, the word becomes emotionally significant. It's attached to a real feeling, a real memory, a real part of you. An emotionally charged memory is almost impossible to forget. So for every new word, create one sentence that connects it to your life. This is non-negotiable. Part C. Say it aloud. Language is not just a mental exercise. It is a physical act. Your mouth, your tongue, your lips, your vocal cords, they are all part of your language learning machinery. You need to train them. It is not enough to see a word, you must say it. When you say a word aloud, you engage what's called muscle memory. The physical movements required to produce the sounds become etched into your brain. This adds another layer to your memory of the word. It's the difference between knowing how a bicycle works in theory and actually knowing how to ride one. But don't just say it once. Play with the word. Say it slowly. Serene. Say it quickly. Serene. Say it in a happy voice, a sad voice, a questioning voice. Are you feeling serene? This is so serene. This might feel silly, but the act of playing with the sound of the word, of embodying it with different emotions, creates even more connections in your brain. It also helps you get comfortable with the pronunciation, so you won't hesitate when you want to use it in a real conversation. Record yourself saying it on your phone and listen back. Does it sound like the native pronunciation you heard? This active, physical engagement makes the word a living part of your voice, not just a silent character on a page. Part D. Write it by hand. In our modern, digital world, this might sound old-fashioned, but it is incredibly effective. I want you to get a notebook, a physical notebook and a pen, and write your new words and your personal sentences by hand. Why? The act of writing by hand is a much more complex cognitive process than typing. When you type, You are just pressing a series of identical buttons. But when you write, your brain has to think about the unique shape of each letter, the curve of the S, the loop of the E. This physical act of creation engages your brain on a deeper level. It's a slower, more deliberate process, which gives your brain more time to absorb the information. The connection between your hand and your brain is a powerful pathway for memory. When you write it down, you are creating a visual memory of the word's shape, a kinetic memory of the movement of your hand, and you are reinforcing the mental memory of its meaning and your personal sentence all at the same time. This is multisensory learning at its best. So create a dedicated vocabulary notebook. For each word, write the word itself, a simple definition in your own words, and your one powerful personal sentence. This notebook will become your personal goldmine of vocabulary. Point 4. The smart timing of spaced repetition. Okay, you've found your word in context. You've made it personal, visualized it, said it, and written it. You've created a very strong initial memory. But remember the forgetting curve? Even a strong memory will fade if we don't revisit it. The key is not if you review, but when you review. This is where the magic of spaced repetition comes in. Spaced repetition is a system for reviewing information at the perfect moment, right before you are about to forget it. Imagine you are trying to keep a path in the grass clear. If you walk on it every day, you are putting in the work to keep that path strong. This is what spaced repetition does for the memory pathways in your brain. Every time you successfully recall a piece of information, you are telling your brain, hey, this is important, don't get rid of it. And the next time, your brain will hold on to it for a little bit longer before it starts to fade. The spaced part is the genius of it. You don't review every day. That's inefficient. You review at increasing intervals. Here's a simple manual system you can use with your notebook or with flashcards. It's often called the Leitner system, but let's just think of it as a simple schedule. Review 1. After 24 hours. You learn the word today. Tomorrow, you review it. This first review is the most critical. It fights the steepest part of the forgetting curve and tells your brain this word is worth keeping. Review 2. After 3 days. After your successful review on day 1, you don't need to see the word for a few days. So, you'll review it again 3 days later. Review 3. After 1 week. If you remember it after 3 days, the memory is getting stronger. Now you can wait a whole week before your next review. Review 4. After 2 weeks. The memory is now quite stable. You can wait 2 weeks. Review 5. After 1 month. After this review, the word is likely moving into your long-term memory. It's becoming a permanent part of your vocabulary. This schedule, 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, is just a suggestion. The important principle is the increasing intervals. How do you do this in practice? It's simple. When you learn your new words for the day, write them down in your notebook. The next day, cover the word and look at your personal sentence or definition. Can you remember the word? If yes, great. Put a little check mark next to it and schedule your next review in your calendar for 3 days from now. If you can't remember it, that's okay. It just means the memory wasn't strong enough yet. You study it again and you restart the schedule. You'll review it again tomorrow. This system is powerful because it's efficient. You spend more time on the words you find difficult and less time on the words you already know well. You are personalizing your review schedule based on your own brain. Of course, we live in a technological age, and there are amazing apps that automate this entire process. Apps like Anki, Quizlet, or Memrise use spaced repetition system SRS algorithms. You create digital flashcards, and the app will automatically show you the right card at the right time. These can be incredibly powerful tools. But whether you use a digital app or a physical notebook, the principle is the same. Don't just review randomly. Have a system. Review smart. By timing your reviews perfectly, you are working with your brain's natural rhythm, not against it. You are systematically and efficiently converting short-term knowledge into permanent, long-term vocabulary. Point 5. The final challenge of active recall. We have arrived at the final and most important step in the entire system. This is the step that separates passive knowledge from active ability. It's called active recall. What is the difference between review and active recall? Let me explain with an analogy. A passive review is like reading a map of a city. You can look at it, trace the streets with your finger, and feel like you know the city. Active recall is when someone takes the map away and says, "Okay, now tell me how to get from the train station to the museum." It's a test. It forces your brain to retrieve the information from memory, not just recognize it. Every time you force your brain to retrieve a memory, that memory becomes stronger and easier to access in the future. It's like exercise. Lifting a weight is hard, but it makes your muscles stronger. Active recall is a workout for your memory. Most students study by rereading their notes. This is passive review. It feels productive, but it's actually a very low-impact exercise. So, how do we practice active recall with our new vocabulary? Here are 3 powerful techniques. Technique 1. Flashcards the right way. Many people use flashcards incorrectly. They put the new word on the front and the definition on the back. Then they look at the word serene and think to themselves, "Oh yeah, that means calm and peaceful," and they flip it over to confirm. This is just recognition. It's too easy. To use active recall, you must reverse your flashcards. Put the definition, a picture, or your personal sentence on the front. For example, the front of the card might say, "That calm, peaceful feeling you get when you sit by a quiet lake." Now your brain has a much harder job. It can't just recognize the answer. It has to search its memory banks and produce the word serene. This struggle, this moment of difficulty, is where the learning happens. It's the mental equivalent of lifting a heavy weight. If you can't remember, don't give up immediately. Give your brain 10 to 15 seconds to really try. If you still can't get it, then you can look at the answer. But the act of trying is what strengthens the connection. Technique 2, the production challenge. This is where you move from just remembering the word to actually using it. The goal of learning vocabulary is not to pass a test, it's to communicate. Within 24 hours of learning a new set of words, you must challenge yourself to produce them. Here are some ideas for a production challenge. You could write a short paragraph, like a journal entry, that uses all 5 of your new words. For our Amazon example, you could write, "I dreamt I was on a journey to a remote part of the world. The jungle was so lush and green. I was amazed by the biodiversity. My goal was to navigate the river to meet the indigenous tribes who live there." Or you can try to use one of your new words in a real conversation. This might be scary at first, but it is the ultimate test. You could even just talk to yourself. Record a 1-minute audio message on your phone where you talk about your day and try to use one of your new words. The act of pulling that word out of your memory and using it in a spontaneous, creative way is the final step in making it truly, permanently yours. Technique 3, the teach it method. There is an old saying, "To teach is to learn twice." If you can explain a concept to someone else in simple terms, you have truly mastered it. Find a friend, a family member, or even just pretend you are explaining it to someone. Take one of your new words and try to teach it. Don't just give the definition. Explain it using your own words, give an example, and explain why it's a useful word. For example, "Hey, I learned a great word today, ephemeral." It's an adjective that describes something that lasts for a very short time. Like, the beauty of a sunset is ephemeral because it's only there for a few minutes and then it's gone. It makes you appreciate it more, you know? When you are forced to organize your thoughts to teach someone else, your brain solidifies its own understanding. It forces you to think about the word from different angles and to connect it to other ideas. By consistently using active recall techniques like these, you are not just memorizing words, you are building a usable, active, and confident vocabulary. Conclusion. So, let's bring it all together. We have our 5-step system for learning words smartly and permanently. First, we stop the great lie of repetition. We understand that just repeating words is a waste of our valuable time. Second, we embrace the power of context. We stop learning from random lists and start finding our words in interesting articles, videos, and stories that we love. Third, we make the word ours. We use deep processing by visualizing the word, personalizing it with our own life experiences, saying it aloud, and writing it by hand. Fourth, we use the smart timing of spaced repetition. We review our words at the perfect moment, just before we forget them, using increasing intervals to build strong, long-term memories. And finally, we challenge ourselves with active recall. We test ourselves, forcing our brains to produce the word, not just recognize it, so that we can use it confidently in real life. This system might seem like more work at first than just reading a list, but it is infinitely more effective. It works with your brain, not against it. It turns learning from a boring chore into a creative, personal, and rewarding process. This is how you build a vocabulary that you don't just know, but that you truly own. It becomes a part of you, ready to be used to express your ideas, your feelings, and your personality in English. Your challenge for this week is simple. I want you to try this system with just 5 new words. Find them in a context you enjoy. Take them through all 5 steps. Experience for yourself how different it feels. And I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me 1 new English word you learned this week. And tell me which part of this system you are most excited to try. I read every comment and I would love to hear about your journey. Thank you so much for joining me here today at English BioTalk. If you found this system helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos to help you master English in a smarter, not harder way. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.